So the Special Investigating Unit has been doing some stellar work, making waves, and they want to hurt the corrupt where it really hurts the most, in their pockets. They've recovered billions for the South African government and are cracking down hard on corruption. Billions of rands meant for the people were lost to corruption, fraud, and mismanagement. And as I say, thanks to their relentless efforts, over 8 billion rand has been clawed back. From dodgy contracts to corrupt officials, the SIU is leaving no stone unturned. And I'm so pleased to tell you that the head of the Special Investigating Unit, Adv Andy Mothibi, joins us now to explain the progress they've been making. As always, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Bongani, and thank you for inviting us. Good morning to you and the listeners.
8 billion rand is not a sum to be sniffed at.
Yes, indeed. And thank you so much for the intro. We really are executing to ensure that those who earn these monies and steal these monies corruptly are hit where it hurts, in the pocket, and take the money back to the state so that it can serve its public purpose. Bongani, this is the result of effective investigation, focused outcomes, and the establishment of the special tribunal in 2019, where it was a game changer in terms of speeding up all these recoveries. 8.4 billion, which really resulted in 2.28 billion in the bank, and the saving of state losses to the tune of 2.32 billion. And further, those contracts that are set aside only in this financial year, 2.13 billion. Bongani, these are the investigations in various state institutions, in government departments, in municipalities, and all of those, perpetrated between the service providers and government officials colluding, and so we make sure that those monies that have been lost are brought back. And as you could probably have seen in our statement, the main contributors really to this amount resulted from Transnet investigation, where the recoveries amounted to 710 million, and from Eskom, where the recoveries amounted to about 500 million. Particularly in Eskom, Bongani, over and above the recoveries, by the way, and in all departments. The recoveries, yes, are great and important, but also we want to see prosecution. In Eskom, you might have seen that the NPA is really pushing to ensure that those cases are enrolled. You have seen someone even being brought back from UK with the extradition processes. And really, we are pleased to see that.
All right. I'm going to interrupt you because I'd love to go through some of these.
Yes.
And then really the idea I want us to focus on is whether or not this is then turning the tide. Because for most of us, surely the idea that people can be caught, surely the idea that it's not worth doing this in the first instance because you'll either go to jail or you'll lose the money. That's what we're all hoping will become established as a norm in South Africa. So let's start with Transnet. Give us a picture of, as you say, how this money, I think it's from the figure I've got, it's 710 million rand or thereabouts. What did this involve, and who are the main culprits?
Bongani, this involved, amongst others, you'll recall that there were those processes where locomotives were purchased, and other recoveries are still ongoing. Those the value of those contracts amounted to about 52 plus billion. Some of the cases are still in court. These ones are some of those that the service providers came forward, admitted liability, and we quantified what's due by them, like the South China Rail and the others, and they say they paid this kind of amount. At NSFAS, it was really among those students that irregularly were paid the grants, and they also admitted that they did not qualify. That money could have gone to students who were really qualifying, and we've brought back that money to NSFAS so that it can be given to needy.
And yes. NSFAS is what? I'm looking at a figure of 191 million rand?
Yes. NSFAS, 191 million rand
That's
brought back.
Extraordinary.
It's extraordinary, Bongani. I mean, those are the, it's really, really unfortunate that you have students that are even misrepresenting, using their grannies' data and so on, so that they can qualify.
So this wasn't just. So hang on, I mean, I had to really sort of rub my eyes to make sure I've got the right figure. This wasn't just from service providers. Are you saying that most of this 191 million rand was recovered from ordinary students?
This was recovered from ordinary students who did not qualify. Some of them misrepresented their status, because remember, there's a qualifying criteria which says if you earn below a certain amount, you qualify. These ones, when we investigated, we found that some of them used their GOGO's data so that they can misrepresent that they are qualifying. So most of this recoveries is from those students. That's the unfortunate part. And I mean, we were quite clear that, I mean, the intention is really not to criminalize students, but the law says where there's misrepresentation, where there's fraud, we need to call it as it is. But yes, we've recovered that.
A contract value of 1.2 billion rand from Eskom?
Yes, indeed. You'd recall that in Eskom, we investigated quite various contracts, and the one that stood up really was the ABB. I don't know if you recall that name of the company. We can mention it because the matter is public. The ABB was appointed to assist Eskom at one of the power stations, and we found that colluding with Eskom managers, and some of them really senior managers, including executives, they overpriced, and in some instances they were paid monies that was not due to them. They went and made fraudulent claims, and the contractors, I mean the managers and the senior managers colluded to make sure that this money is paid to ABB, and they would get their kickbacks at the back. And those have all been identified. They've all now been charged. There's one case where the senior managers are in court, and we are really pleased to see NPA pushing these prosecutions. Bongani, all we say is that we are executing for results. We want to see the impact in the interest of the public, that it must not be fashionable, as it seems to have been, to act with impunity.
This is part of my...
I'm
going to come in there. This is part of my worry, and that's why I wanted to paint the broad picture, whether it's Transnet or Eskom or NSFAS. I mean, you've recovered, almost 2 billion rand from medico-legal investigations. All of this paints a picture of a really rotten society, because whether it's executives or service providers or suppliers or senior managers within state entities or in municipalities or ordinary folks, students, young people, it's painting a picture of a rotten society.
Bongani, we're on record. In fact, I had it earlier in one of the stations saying the court cases that we are seeing now, as late as yesterday, really paints a picture of an endemic corruption that we are dealing with. And we cannot deny that there's a picture of endemic corruption because of the culture of impunity that has been created over time. But now we are acting on it. We are turning the corner, as you said. We want to see a downward trend, and that downward trend can only be effected by effective investigations, effective recoveries of monies earned and through corruption, prosecutions, and taking out those officials from the system that are colluding and enabling these corrupt activities. We want to act to the private sector, because it's not only in the public sector, in the private sector as well. These service providers that go out of their way to corrupt officials, of course, the officials also, then it clearly means that they are corruptible, but we want to act on all of them. These companies must be blacklisted, the directors must be prosecuted as well. Bongani, we want to really ensure that really the public receives a value for their money.
Advocate Andy Mothibi, the head of the Special Investigating Unit. What's your reaction to that? Are you, in one sense, encouraged that they're getting this money back? 8 billion rand is not to be sniffed at, as I said. But then do you not take a step back and say, who have we become? If it's not lawyers and doctors and students and executives and suppliers and engineers, people who've actually gone to university and got themselves qualifications and special knowledge to be able to do certain things, all trying to grab what they can from the kitty, from the public purse, throwing away years of study and career and reputation. But they don't mind doing so. Who have we become?
Current events, developing stories,
tough questions.
Your voice making a difference.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.